Chapter 1. What is WGU? WGU is online, but it's also competency-based, which means you go into a course and there might be a performance assessment, which is a paper, or several papers. How fast can you write those? Or an objective assessment, an OA. How fast can you complete that test? And that's how quickly you are done with the course. The question that I see most often is, how long will it take me? And here's the thing, it takes time and effort. And how much time and effort can you put into this? For the MBA program, I've seen people finish it like in just a couple of months, but 60% of people do finish the MBA program within 1 year. So it's totally awesome if you take 2 years to finish this program, but you can also knock it out in one term. And I did it in 5 months. When I started the program, I was studying 3 to 5 hours a day, 8 hours a day on the weekends, and I was knocking out courses quickly. Then as the program went on, I started really dragging my feet, and I also had a 5-day vacation. So realistically, I probably could have finished within 4 months. But here's the thing, you are able to extend one course. So if you are shooting to do this in one term, technically you have 7 months. So you would have 6 months and you can extend one course, which is the Capstone, giving you an extra month. Realistically, if you can put in several hours most days and some long weekends, you can absolutely finish this quickly. But there's also a lot of people that complete this program in 2 terms. Chapter 2, the MBA program. All right, so getting into the WGU MBA, what is it like? First off, there are 10 courses in one capstone. I am middle-aged. I've been out of college for a really long time, and I would say the difficulty ranges from kind of easy to kind of difficult. Even if you're bad at math, like myself, you can 100% do this. You can absolutely do this. I'm gonna go through every single course. If you check out my channel though, I have a detailed video about every single course in the MBA, so definitely watch those. But here is a quick overview. First off, orientation. They say it takes 6 to 8 hours. No, man, it's gonna take you 1 to 2 hours. There is a single page paper that's really 5 sentences. It's super duper easy. Chapter 3, C200 Managing Organizations. Now, thankfully, they start you off with some of the easier courses. In this first course, you will do Clifton Strengths, which is super easy, and you're going to write 2 papers, and it's really easy. So the big things here when writing a paper is there is a rubric, and you follow that rubric exactly. Don't give them more, don't give them less. Follow the rubric. If it says A, A1, A2, whatever it says, you follow that structure exactly. WGU will give you an example of how to write to the rubric. They will give you a template, but I think it's also helpful to go on third-party sites like StuDocu and see how papers are written. Let me say the obvious here, don't copy anyone's paper. When you submit your paper, it's going to compare it to previously written papers, and if it's like a duplicate, they're gonna know. So take the time to write your own paper, but definitely seeing how someone else wrote it can help you do this quickly. When I'm going over these courses, I'm going to talk about roughly how difficult it is, and clearly something that might be like really easy for you might have been really difficult for me. So this is just a generalization. Then I'm also going to talk about how quickly people knock this out. Now, there are some people that knock out these courses in just like a day or two, and that's amazing. And there's people that might take a whole month on a course, and that's a-okay. So I'm going to give you a generalization of how long it might take you. So for C200 Managing Organizations, this is generally considered easy. It might take you a day or two, but it could realistically take you a week or 2 weeks. Chapter 4, C204 Communications. I posted my videos in a different order on YouTube, but I actually did this course second, and it's also another paper writing course. The paper is not too difficult. Again, just look at the rubric, but then you also have a presentation. So check out tutorials on YouTube for how to record a video in Panopto. The paper, again, you're writing in the APA format. They give you that template, but you can also go to Google Docs and go to New Template and then search for the APA format. I absolutely prefer Google Docs. However, you do get Microsoft Office for free, so check that out. I also forgot to say this, you get Grammarly for free. So run your paper through Grammarly and make sure that you don't have basic mistakes. This is another course that's considered to be pretty easy. It might take you several days or up to a week to complete this. Chapter 5, C202, Managing Human Capital. This is the first test that I took in the MBA program, and I was incredibly nervous. But basically, this is HR rules and regulations. The tests at WGU are all multiple choice. Most of the time, you're just picking one answer. In some of the later classes, you might have to pick 2 or 3 of the answers, and those are a little bit more difficult if I'm being honest. But this course, it's pretty simple. You're just picking one answer, multiple choice. With all the tests at WGU, especially the MBA, take your time and really read the question. You're not allowed to read out loud, so highlight the question kind of just over and over again to make sure that you're reading the question correctly and it's not like, what is this not the answer? Kind of a really cool thing is you can bring a dry erase board to every single test, and you should bring a dry erase board, several markers, and like a sock or toilet paper, something to erase. You'll need this more in the later courses, but even for something like this, you can write A, B, C, D, and if you're like, okay, well, C and D are absolutely not it, mark those off, and then your brain can look at A and B. You know what I mean? Simplify it for yourself. Again, check out each video that I created for each course, and that will give you the details of how I passed each class. I would call the difficulty moderate. It's not that hard, but it is your first test, so that can be a little bit stressful, and it might take you 1 to 2 weeks to prepare for this OA. Chapter 6, my favorite, C212, Marketing. Of course, check out my other video that I made about the marketing course, but I think this is one of the few courses that you can really be creative. Put yourself in the shoes that you are working for this company and that you are writing about this product. I don't think it's a difficult course, but there is a good amount of writing, so this could easily take you a week or 2. Chapter 7, C206, Ethical Leadership. This course has a lot of writing again, and for me, I did a lot of these writing courses up front, which allowed me to go through the MBA very quickly. The writing isn't that hard, but it is time consuming. Okay, so there are 3 papers on this course. It is not very difficult, but it is very time consuming. So this could easily take you a week or 2 to write everything out. The difficulty, I would call it moderate again. Chapter 8, C213, Accounting for Decision Makers. This was the first course that I would consider difficult, and I'm going to be honest with you. I was stressed. I felt depressed working on this course. Because I went so quickly on all the courses, when I got to accounting, it felt like hitting a wall. The key to passing tests at WGU is quizzing yourself. Study and study, but quiz yourself. Study a little bit more, and guess what? Quiz yourself more. It's not about putting the information in that helps you remember. It's about pulling out the information. Truthfully, I have to give this a difficulty of hard. I've seen some people finish this in just a day or 2, but honestly, it took me a couple of weeks of really hard studying to finally get it. Now, I somehow didn't fail a single test, but the amount of anxiety that I had going into these tests was pretty dramatic. And from what my mentor told me, you can take the test up to 4 times. But each time there is more homework that they will assign you. The purpose is they want you to pass. Here's another huge piece of advice. Set up times to talk to your instructor, or set up times to talk to several instructors. It's amazing. You can set up 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and ask them questions, and they will personally teach you some of the concepts. Don't show up to a meeting knowing nothing. Like, do your due diligence and study and come with real questions so they can answer them. But there were plenty of times where there was a concept that I just wasn't getting. An instructor would just explain it to me in like 5 minutes and be like, oh, okay, that's not too bad. Chapter 9, C214, Financial Management. There's a good amount of people that say you should take financial management after accounting because there's a lot of concepts in accounting that also come over to this course. And it seems like kind of a toss-up. Some people think accounting's more difficult. Some people think this course is more difficult. For me, this was slightly easier. Now, this course is interesting. The test, the OA, is actually done in Excel. You 100% have to use Excel on the test. Now, obviously watch my C214 video, but the functions, the actual formulas to solve the problems, they are in Excel, so it's not as difficult as it seems. You don't have to buy the financial calculator at this point, but it is kind of handy that it has 4 decimal points and it does percents, but a regular calculator will work. Obviously, your dry erase board is going to be your best friend. Overall difficulty, hard. It's hard. And I will say it will easily take you a week or 2 of studying. Chapter 10, C215, Operations Management. Coming from accounting and financial management, operations management felt a lot easier. Don't try to just memorize terms. Like Quizlets is great, but try to remember concepts. If you can remember the concepts, then you will be able to remember the terms. Unfortunately, one of the instructors was saying that you could have a lot of questions on your OA that's like pick multiples, pick 2 or 3 options from the options that are given to you, and that makes it more difficult. So for this course, I'm gonna give it a moderate to hard difficulty, and it could easily take you a week or 2 to study for this OA. Chapter 11, C207, Data-Driven Decision Making, Statistics. Statistics. Yeah, I didn't have fun with this course whatsoever. I don't think it's similar whatsoever to accounting, but it's similar in the fact that there are a ton of new concepts. Here's a bit of advice. Something that may work for you in one course, like just watching the videos, might not work in another course. For this particular course, I had to make myself physical flashcards. I can't even describe it well. It has layers. Like there might be a specific test, and then with that test, there's certain graphs that you would use. So there's a lot of interconnected material that feeds into itself. I know I'm saying this a lot, but really try to understand the concepts than just knowing the terms. If you know the concepts, you're going to be ready for the test. I'm definitely going to rate this hard to very hard. I think an average person that hasn't taken a statistics course might take 1 to 2 to 3 weeks to go through this material. Take your time and you can do this. Chapter 12, C211, Global Economics. I would easily call this difficult. A lot of people say this is the hardest course. I think it's pretty much on par with accounting or statistics, that amount of effort that you might have to put in. Overall, the concepts are fairly easy. It's just kind of a bummer when you're studying something and it's like mercantilism. It's like no one uses this. And they're like, why am I learning this? But it's not that bad. Just like all the other courses, the key to passing this is just quiz yourself, quiz yourself, quiz yourself. Definitely going to put this up as a difficulty of hard, and it might take you 1 to 3 weeks to prepare for the OA. Chapter 13, C216, the Capstone Project. The Capstone is 1 simulation and 3 papers. I've seen people finish this in 1 week, but it could easily take you 2 or 3 weeks. For the papers, again, I think seeing other people's papers, like on StuDocu, what do you need to include, is very helpful. The Capstone is actually pretty cool. A lot of people say they enjoy it, and I can say the same thing. It's a good amount of work, but you get to put everything that you've learned in the MBA to use in this final project. Now, of course, you should watch my video to see the horrible mistakes that I made in the Capstone. Now, in retrospect, I wish I had taken more time to do the simulation. I'm going to call the difficulty on this from moderate to hard. It's not that difficult, but there is a fair amount of reading and several papers that you have to write. Chapter 14, Tips and Tricks for WGU Success. So I haven't really talked about this, but before I started the MBA, I went through Reddit and I read hundreds upon hundreds of threads and comments about every single course. I took all of that information, ran it through ChatGPT, and summarized it and put it on my website. My unofficial WGU MBA study guide is 100% for free. There's no sign-on. All you need to do is click the link below, and each course has its own page on tips and tricks on how to pass the course as easily as possible. That being said, I was still on Reddit every single day. I think interacting with people on Facebook or Reddit is a really good way to get through each course. The other big piece of advice is pace yourself. At the beginning of the MBA, I was going really quick, and guess what? I burned myself out, and by the end, I was really dragging my feet. So set times that you are going to work and work hard. But guess what? Set times where you are not going to work on the MBA and enjoy your life. Your instructors are there to help you pass each course. So set up times to meet with them, and you don't have to meet specifically with your instructor. You can meet with any of them. And at the end of the day, it is you who will pass the course, and all it takes is time and effort. Chapter 15. Is the WGU MBA worth it? Here are my final thoughts about WGU. Let me start with the cons. The platform that WGU uses, the LMS or Learning Management System, it sucks. The whole platform, if I was going to describe it, is janky, outdated, it's terrible on mobile. Then when you get into a course, they're using Salesforce pages for course resources. Every single course is laid out differently, and it's just really janky. Speaking of course resources, every single course, the course resources are just hidden in a different spot. Sometimes the instructor will email you the course resources immediately. Sometimes it will take them several days. Sometimes they will send it to you after you failed the pre-assessment. Sometimes it's on the right rail. Sometimes it's on the left rail. It's just wherever they want to put it. The other con that I would say about the WGU experience is some of the courses are definitely a lot better than others. Some of the courses just have extremely old videos, like 4x3, pre-HD videos that have to be 10, 15 years old. And in very few cases, some of the course material is just actually outdated. That would be my main feedback for WGU and kind of what to expect. The platform is just not amazing. So let's go to the pros, what I did like about WGU. First off, it is really affordable. If you compare WGU to, say, like your local college, and then how quickly you can finish the program, my gosh, WGU is worth every penny. One of the other great things about this program is that you can work with your instructors. Like in a regular university, you can't just schedule like a time with a doctorate and be like, hey, can you help me with my project? It's phenomenal how much help that they are willing to give you. This might go to a pro or con. Some people have problems with their mentor, and you can get another mentor if you two are not working out. But realistically, your mentor is just opening up courses for you, and they're just there to help guide you through the process. So at the end of the day, I would 10 out of 10 recommend WGU for your MBA program if you are a self-starter. If you are a person that can make yourself study, make yourself write papers, you can do this, and it is a great program. On the flip side, if you are someone that would rather have like weekly courses and that everything is laid out exactly when you should do it, then this is not for you. You really have to be that self-starter and be able to discipline yourself to put in that time and effort, and you will be successful. Well, that is it, folks. So definitely like and subscribe, leave a comment, and take care of each other. I hope you're doing well, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.